Hi everyone, it's Norm here. This spring I've been getting quite a few questions in regards to bird watching in the tall grass prairie natural area. So bird watching has been a hobby of mine since I was a little kid because it can really be enjoyed from people of all ages. Young kids use it as sort of like a scavenger hunt, and as you get older it becomes more challenging as you look for all these different birds in our area. But the question is how to birdwatch. Well, really, there's no right or wrong answer to that. But on today's episode, I'm going to be going over a few tips and tricks that I have. So stay tuned. There are a few things that you can take with you on your birdwatching adventures to make it a little bit more enjoyable. So number one thing would be a good pair of binoculars. And I would say you need to spend a little bit of time to get to know the set, make sure how to use them. And a suggestion would be to bring some sort of cloth to wipe the lens in case it gets any moisture on it. Now, something that you can use instead of binoculars would be a camera. So there's some pros and cons to a camera. A pro would be that, well, you get that beautiful picture of the bird, and you can also use that as a way to ID the bird once you get home. So even myself, I have trouble identifying certain families of birds like flycatchers. So olive-sided flycatchers, eastern wood pewees, birds like that. So having that picture can really help to make the ID a bit more manageable. Speaking of ID, a good guidebook is essential for bird watching. My amount of books that I have just keep growing and growing as I keep aging, but they can be a little expensive and really bulky to take out on a walk. So there's something that you could use instead that most of us keep right in our pockets. So most of us will go out bird watching to sort of try to escape a little bit of technology. But on your phone, you can download some free apps to help you ID birds. So one that's great is Merlin app. You simply punch in some information and it can really help to make the ID process a lot easier. Now you can pair this app with another one called eBird. Now what eBird does is it actually acts as a big database for different ornithologists, scientists that are trying to collect data on where birds are and when they're seen. So you can punch in the birds that you see on your trip, and that can help the overall scientific community, which is a great thing. So you have everything you need for bird watching now. The only thing left is to go out and enjoy it. One thing that I would say is when you're viewing wildlife, whether it's birds or other types of wildlife, once you see it, it's best not to approach. Sometimes birds are known to abandon their young if they are on a nest, so that is something to consider. There are some key areas of places to visit in the tallgrass prairie natural area to do bird watching. First of all, in the preserve, we have two great interpretive trails, Prairie Shore and the Agassiz, that allow you to see dozens of bird species on a single trip. In the area, one of my favorite birds, the bobolink, who is sort of the poster bird for prairie birds, can be spotted. Now, if you want to broaden your species count, you have to broaden the different types of habitat that you visit. So why not you check out the Roseau River for birds like bank swallow, or if you're on a search for red-headed woodpecker, look out for grazed woodlots. Marshy areas can turn up birds like the least bittern. Another thing to consider is the time of day that you're bird watching. Most of us will know that the best bird viewing is in the early hours of the morning That's true for most bird species to be out. Some popular species like warblers, including Canada warbler, golden wing warbler, are found at those time frames, and as the day gets a little warmer, then they start to hide a little. But you can also try more so in the evening time or early in the morning. So birds like common nighthawk are crepuscular. That's when they're the most active. And a time that you might think is really relevant for bird watching is night. So a bird like the whippoorwill, which you might not be able to see, you'll still be able to identify because it has that really unique call. So again, bird watching, you can do it really any time of day and just look out for different species in different habitats. All of these birds that I've just mentioned are actually considered at risk here in Manitoba. In fact, 14 out of the 28 species at risk we have in the tallgrass prairie natural area are birds. So there are a lot of different reasons for this decline, but a lot has to do with habitat loss and insect prey loss, which is hard to believe with the amount of mosquitoes that we're dealing with today. Now, for me, bird watching has been a real passion since I was a little kid. And one thing that hasn't changed for me since that time is the excitement I get when I see a new bird, or when I'm able to welcome back a spring migrant and I see it for the first time again. It's something that I really look forward to every season. Now, I want the next generations to have the same opportunities of bird watching as I have had, and I'm hoping for a positive improvement with our bird populations. So that's everything I have for you today. If anyone has any questions about bird watching, then please be in contact with me. You can get in touch with me via email, sarcommunityliaison@gmail.com. See you on the next episode.